Okay, so now I think we're ready. So while we're waiting for that to load, today we're tackling patch 2.3. So that's going to be fun. Got to do some corrections to my camera, but I'm just, not good with this kind of stuff. I'm just hoping it doesn't go out in the middle of the stream. That would not be appreciated. Okay. I keep forgetting where New Game Plus is. Resume. The Great Divide. It's in Mordona. I actually don't know how long I was muted. It's probably just to drink that. The Great Divide. Our friends, the very isle itself, everyone and everything. No, it avails us not to speculate. Urianger will send word if there are any developments. Until such time as he does, we must remain firmly focused on which is within our power to change. With that in mind, I would speak of a different matter, one closer to home. It concerns Aetheric fluctuations which had previously attributed to good King Mogomog XII. That the king is no more is a blessing for which we have you to thank. Yet all is not well in the Twelves Wood. Our latest readings reveal an ongoing Aetheric disturbance of considerable magnitude. They may even suggest the presence of a primal. Needless to say, the mere possibility warrants immediate investigation, and I would have you... Asilia, I do not wish to interrupt, but we have a problem. What manner of problem? A band of refugees, hailing from Molda this time, are coming to Revenant's Toll seeking asylum. It would seem they expect us to afford them the same treatment we gave the Domans. At present, they are in the seventh heaven, awaiting a formal response. I see. Mayhap this was to be expected. I shall meet with them at once. Asilia, you know full well we haven't the resources to accommodate many more people. Consider what will happen if you do this. Word will spread, and more will follow. Your opinion is duly noted, but I will hear their suit. Shadow, I should be grateful for your presence in this meeting. I apologize for keeping you waiting. My name is Minfilia, and I lead the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. 12 be praised. It is you. We're ready and willing to work, same as the Domans. Just give us a task, and we'll see it done. Pray calm yourselves. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I know not of your situation. Beg your pardon, antecedent. I ain't so good with words. We've been living off the scraps of Ul'dah for years now, trying to piece together a life to replace the one that we got took. They say there's work, but that's not for an honest man. Not as wouldn't sully his soul sooner than his palms, any road. The flames do what they can for us, of course, but it ain't near enough. And it's only getting worse. When the calamity brought us to our knees, those rich bastards in the city didn't help us. They climbed on our backs. I don't pretend to be clever, but even I can see what's coming. I know we had to run. The only question was where. And when it came to me... Oh, and then it came to me. Revenant's Toll. I mean, you took them foreigners in, didn't you? So you surely do the same for us. I fear the situation is rather more complicated. While it is true that we accepted Noman's petition for aid, the decision was the product of extraordinary circumstances. I sympathize deeply with your plight, but pray understand that it is not possible for an organization of our means to aid all who have been affected by the calamity. And so it is with great regret that I must deny your request. But we've nowhere else to go. You're turning your back on us? If I might have a word. Tataru, is aught amiss? Ill tidings from Ul'dah, milady. Alphino has been wounded. What? Is it serious? I cannot say for certain, but I fear it might be. According to the flames, the refugees started a riot. They went wild, apparently, lashing out at any and everyone. That can't be right. Why would they? They must have been provoked. The demonstration was supposed to be peaceful. Seven hells. Now the Blades have an excuse. They'll round us up and kill anyone who tries to resist. Antecedent, please. If you won't help us build a new life, at least help us keep the ones we've got. My lady. We are not one to stand idly by and watch innocents suffer. However, until we know more of the circumstances surrounding this riot, I'm not certain that aid, if any, we can provide. If the authorities determine that the refugees attacked without provocation, then those responsible will have to answer for their actions. How can you be so blind? Find Alphino, and quickly. If he is in danger, or worse, I would have you and none other by his side. Thank you. Pray do not concern yourself with the matter we were discussing earlier. Ida and Papa Lima will see to it. Alphino is being treated at the Hourglass. Hurry, Shadow. The Hourglass. What's the best way there? The adventures. Oh, I know where the Hourglass is. That was a dumb moment there. How's my equipment looking? Ooh, I do need a mender. So we'll stop here real quick. Alphino can wait a couple more seconds. Oh, wait, what? Huh. That will be fine.
Come, you must have gathered by now that Tataru is given to exaggeration. As you can see, I am quite well. Ul'dah, on the other hand, is not. This riot was anything but an isolated incident. There is a restlessness in the air. Tensions long simmering are at last threatening to boil over. Ul'dah is a nation infamous for the great disparity between the wealthy and the poor. The majority of the populace accepts this state of affairs because they believe that every man bears responsibility for his own lot in life. To an Ul'dan, money is the foremost, and some would say the only measure of a man's worth. Small wonder that the wealthiest wield the greatest influence. So where do the refugees fit into this social hierarchy? What place is there for those who fled Alamigo and the destruction of the calamity? Plainly, there is none. They have no wealth, no power, and no worth. To the Ul'dan way of thinking, they may as well not exist. Choosing to ignore their existence, however, is patently not an option. General Rauban and the Sultana understand this. which is why they ordered the immortal flames to provide the refugees aid and succor. Yet none would dispute that the expenses incurred by this policy grow by the day, with no end in sight. This has prompted more and more Uldans to question their obligation to aid these worthless wanderers, while more and more refugees have come to resent their treatment at the hands of the sneering citizenry. The manner of Lord Lolorito's refusal to grant the Dolmens asylum bespoke a disdain for all refugees, an attitude shared by the rest of the monetarists. And you may be sure they make no effort to conceal that it was only a matter of time before the refugees united in protest. Nor is it any surprise that some among them would ultimately resort to violence. That the immortal flames should choose this of all occasions to engage in joint training exercises with the other Grand Companies. By the time they return, the situation may well have deteriorated beyond mending.
Desperate times. As I told you before, it was all but inevitable that an incident of this kind would eventually occur given the rising tensions within the Sultanate. Nevertheless, I have reason to believe that this particular riot may not have sprung... Sorry, I lost it there. Have I piqued your curiosity? Good. Then you will accompany me to the Hall of the Flames. I would hear what General Raubon has to say upon the matter. Now is not a good time, Lieutenant Blyson. My hands are full dealing with the refugees. Precisely the matter we wish to discuss, General. Alphino, back on your feet already. You may credit my swift recovery to your, Securgians. My memories of the riot are still somewhat muddled. I trust you managed to regain control of the situation? Not entirely. We secured the city soon enough, but not before the unrest had spread to the surrounding territories. Pockets of resistance remain throughout Thanalan. We have sent what forces we can spare to root out the last of the belligerents, but progress is slow. They are damnably elusive. I can well imagine, given that the majority of refugees live outside the walls. It stands to reason that they will know the lay of the land. What I do not understand is how they came to be so well prepared. Before my little accident, I observed that several of the refugees were armed, and not with butcher's knives or pitchforks, but with martial weaponry. I need hardly add that such equipment is costly. None can deny that tensions between the Uldan citizenry and the refugee population have increased since the Domans were turned away, but would that motivate a starving man to purchase arms in lieu of food? I think not. And what of those who have not even a single gil to spend, who could not survive without the aid provided by the immortal flames? Surely they would sooner sell a weapon that bring it to bear against the benefactors. Come to the point. Very well. My point, General, is that the powder keg of discontent was not set alight by chance. These events were deliberately set in motion, and now order must be restored. This is my duty. Until it is done, my investigation can wait. I do not have time to discuss this. My scouts will be returning anon. The General is no fool. He keeps his own counsel, and with good cause. Were he to claim, without the necessary proof, that these riots were investigated by outside forces, the monitors would accuse him of attempting to shirk responsibility. After all, he and the Sultanate have been the most outspoken proponents of refugee aid. Regardless, they will face harsh criticism in the days ahead. Our allies may stumble upon the truth in time, but I have far more faith in your ability, Shadow. Therefore, I propose we conduct our own investigation, independent of the authorities. To the end, I would have you make inquiries in the settlement suspected of harboring belligerents. Commander Swift will know which they are. He may balk at request of such information, but I have no doubt that you can persuade him with your silver tongue. I, meanwhile, shall seek answers in my own way, after which we can regroup and share our findings. Well then, shall we? You look as though you have something to say, Lieutenant Blyson, do you? What you ask for is no simple favor. Were such information to fall into the wrong hands, the lives of countless soldiers would be at risk. Even so, there is wisdom in your words, an able individual. Even one with ties to the flames may be better suited to this task than a regiment. Very well. The Brass Blades have reported suspicious activity in the vicinity of Lost Hope. It may be unrelated to recent events, but we doubt it. I suggest you begin by speaking to the Blades posted there. Come on. Alright. Back at Blackbrush Station. We haven't been here in a hot second. I never noticed just how intimidating this scenario is. Just a bunch of them all watching. Always watching. And what brings you here, adventurer? A search for refugees? Well, then you've come to the right place. Ah, you mean those refugees. Oh no, you won't find them here. Most of the people of Lost Hope have come to accept their situation, and are content to pass their days in peace and quiet. Outsiders have trouble understanding that. Like that merchant who passed through recently. Gregarious fellow, but awfully opinionated. Can't say I was sad to see him go. Wrong guy. Not you, believes. I didn't expect them to send you, Shadow. I take it this means someone has read my report? The refugees who left with the merchant have yet to return, and I am increasingly concerned that Zazawaka's suspicions were correct. You haven't the foggiest idea what I'm talking about, do you? Never mind. Speak with Zazawaka. He will explain everything. Ah, don't hurt me, I'm not one of them. What? I know your face. Are you not the man from the Church of Saint Adama Landama? 1,000 pardons, my friend. I mistook you for one of those thugs who have been tormenting us. If Leofric bid you speak with me, then I take it you've agreed to help. 12 be praised for that, because we haven't a moment to waste. Everyone knows the flames are on the march. The others have fallen under the fanatic's spell, but not I. Promises of revolution and retribution, of holding the ruling class to account and taking that which is owed. A childish fantasy. I did everything I could to dissuade the others from leaving, but few would heed my words. Now that one of our idealists have returned, however, the madness of the merchant's plan is plain for all to see. Look beyond yonder tent, and you will understand why. Even now he babbles incoherently, so traumatized is he by the bloodshed he witnessed. Try as I might, I can make little sense of his words beyond the fact that he was not alone in surviving, yet I have no doubt that merchants will lead the remainder of their doom. I beg of you, find them before he does. What are you doing? Don't draw. Don't draw. Don't draw. Why didn't you run away from me? We could have escaped together. Then you'd be here with me. Be here to soothe me. Why did you have to stay and leave me alone? Who are you? What do you want? Aye, it's true. I followed the merchant, and made the gods strike me down for my folly. What they will not give, you must take, he said. When we asked how, he revealed a cache of weapons he had brought and implored us to seize control of our fates. I thought about running then and there, but the others were so excited, he split us into 2 groups, sent us off on our own. But when the flames found us, we didn't know what to do. Our leader tried to parley with theirs, but they started arguing, and then fighting, and then everyone was fighting, and the flames were shouting to no quarter, and, oh gods, the other group, they're still out there. If we don't stop them, they'll be massacred like mine was. Shock and awe. The other refugees are hiding in the caves south of Lost Hope. but to approach them would be fruitless. They would sooner call us agents of the Sultanate and try to kill us than listen to reason. Why, the twins might even disdain to do the deed themselves. A pox on all bloody sellswords. They were supposed to train us to fight, but the ones he sent with us vanished during the struggle. If only we had never listened to the merchant's ridiculous claims. He said our cause was righteous, that the gods would never suffer us to be defeated. Though, if they were forced to confront reality, that's it. Challenge the twins to combat and show my brethren that their strongest warriors are no match for one man. Mayhap then they will agree to lay down their arms and renounce this plot. I guess I don't know this as much as I think I do. Oh, I see where to go. First we gotta get out of this. Then down here. Seven hells, they found us. Everyone grab your gear and make way for the rendezvous point. So that's your game, is it? Sorry to disappoint you, lad, but we're more than willing to kill you ourselves. Today at 9, Warrior of Light massacres refugees. Oh, you survived it. A move. Way to go, you. You beat him like it was nothing. Thou Almighty, what are we gonna do now? You've returned. Did you find my brethren? What are the twins? What happened? I see. Well, you had no choice. Better that a handful of them are take a beating than to get butchered by the flames. Tell me, what did the merchant have to say when it was over? But where else would he be? Unless he went to Stone's Throw to recruit others. Reap the whirlwind. The merchant wished to approach the refugees in Stone's Throw, but was waiting until the flames withdrew their forces from the vicinity. Now that they have, there's nothing to stop them from continuing his work. How many more must perish in pursuit of this futile cause? How much more suffering must we endure before it ends? Find him. Convince him to cease his mad quest. It will surely lead us to ruin. Oh, I'm not in the right spot. I need to be on this side. Have you seen my parents? They told me to stay here with the others, that they'd be back soon, but it's been days. They left with the man from Molda. The man said they were going to change everything, make it so we can live inside the walls with everyone else. I liked it when he said that. I didn't like it when he talked about making the rich people pay. Everyone looked so angry, and I got scared. Say, mister, are you looking for someone? You mean the man who left with my parents? But I don't know where he is. Wait, look, over there, that's him. Well now, which of these gullible fools shall be my next victim? You? He's getting away. Go with him, mister. You again? Why are you pursuing me? Sedition? Treason? Revolution? That's preposterous. Who has filled your head with these lies? Refugees? The self-same refugees who terrorize the streets of Volda? Ha! You have no evidence to prove your accusations. None. No, I will not accompany you to the Hall of Flames. You have no right to detain me. For the sake of argument, let us say I did do the things you claim. Surely you don't think I give a current's arse about politics. It was business, only business. We both know I am the one you want. However, if you agree to protect me, I swear I shall tell you everything. That went well. What's all the commotion? 7 hells. Tell the others and tell the others to spread out the search the area. The killer may still be close. Hold, adventurer. I would know more about your relationship with the victim, as well as the events leading up to his death. This man was responsible for the recent riots. Mayhap we owe this murder a debt of gratitude. In any case, it's obvious you are not the one whom we seek. You may carry on with your investigation, Scion. Nah! I hit home forgetting that my home is Crystarium now. Someone's having fun over there. I don't know how long that was muted, but I'm sorry. What news, Lieutenant Blyson? Where's the merchant? Murdered? Damn it to the 7th hell. He was not simply murdered, Lieutenant. He was silenced. Too many knew his face, and he was ready to divulge his secrets. Do not despair, though. We may be closer to identifying the true orchestrator of these riots than you realize. Revolution. The Flame General left word that you were to proceed the fragrant chamber as soon as you left. He wished to discuss your recent discoveries as well as the results of our own investigation. Master Alphino has already been informed and should be waiting for you outside. Pray proceed to the Royal Promenade with all haste and speak with Bartholomew. We have been expecting you, sir. Please proceed inside.
Commander Swift has kept us apprised of your recent activities. You've made great strides towards quelling the violence.
Despite our best efforts to determine what provoked this uprising, truth continues to elude us. Have you uncovered aught which might shed some light on the mystery?
This information does not leave this room. The Syndicate's decision to reject the Doman refugees' appeal for asylum had lasting repercussions. A number of those displaced by the calamity claimed it was proof of a policy of discrimination. Together with a group of Alamegan refugees, they organized a series of demonstrations to protest against the Sultanate. Demonstrations which became heated, but did not descend into violence. Until a certain incident served as a call to arms.
A unit of brass blades sent to supervise a demonstration loosed arrows upon unarmed protesters. It was this atrocity which prompted the refugees to take up arms. I need not tell you what followed.
We assumed at first that the attack was born of a miscommunication. When emotions run high, they happen. But suspicions were raised regarding the unit's commanding officer, whom I ordered interrogated. Sure enough, our fears were soon confirmed. The dog confessed that a merchant had offered him coin to give the order. A merchant in the employ of Teleji Adeleji.
Teleji Adeleji? But he spoke in favor of the Doman's cause, and has ever seemed sympathetic towards the refugees' plight. Why would he do such a thing?
Know you of the Cartano Reclamation Bill? It is a proposal to annex the Cartano Flats so that refugees may establish permanent settlements.
When last I looked, that was disputed territory.
Aye. Some might even call it a battlefield. The destruction wrought by Bahamut was greatest at the Cartano Flats. That much is common knowledge. What is less well known is that his rampage laid bare ancient Alagon ruins, of which no record existed. There are certain differences of opinion as to how these ruins should be handled, which is why each nation maintains a military presence in the region to this day. Yet differ though we may, we are still allies. Therefore, in the interest of preserving the Eorzean alliance, we have reached an agreement. Any conflict which may arise during the course of military exercises in the region shall have no bearing on relations between our nations. In full knowledge of this delicate state of affairs, Teleji Adeleji proposed the Cartano Reclamation Bill. A shameless bloody ruse which stands to benefit him in but one conceivable way. If successful, he will gain control over the disputed territory under the guise of assisting in the resettlement effort. And you can be sure he'll build an orphanage next to every Allagan ruin.
The man would threaten the unity of the Eorzean Alliance and risk countless lives for personal gain.
He walks a path all his own, independent of any faction and beholden to none of his fellows on the Syndicate.
By inciting the less fortunate to violence, he hopes to convince others that the Cartano Reclamation Bill is the only viable solution. His sympathy for the plight of the Domans was not but posturing to gain credibility with the refugees. Of that there can be no doubt.
Forgive me, but what could possibly motivate Teleji Adeleji to go to such lengths? What is so special about these ruins that he would risk his position on the Syndicate, and, most likely, charges of treason against the Sultanate?
Omega.
Pardon?
An Allagan monstrosity, not unlike the Ultima weapon. Mayhap larger, we know not. It has yet to be fully excavated. Allagan inscriptions indicate that it was created to fell Bahamut himself. If accurate, it might explain why Nail Van Darnus chose to bring the Red Moon down upon the Cartano Flats, given the ends he went to ensure Eorzea's annihilation. Destroying the one weapon which could stay the Elder Primal may well have seemed like good sense.
When first I bore witness to the power of the Ultima weapon, I doubted the evidence of my senses. And now you tell me there is another such weapon. One which could contend with Bahamut. Bahamut!
Aye, we were skeptical ourselves. Truth be told, until the Ultima weapon's existence came to light, we thought the inscription had been mistranslated.
At present, Omega is more akin to a fossil than a tool of war, having long since ceased to function. As such, its true potential cannot accurately be gauged. However, if someone were to restore it, as the Garleans did the Ultima weapon, I have little doubt that he would wield untold power.
Power enough to subjugate Uldar like as not, and the rest of Eorzea besides, which is doubtless why Teleji Adeleji yearns to have it.
That he should aspire to world domination. He who has ever walked 2 paces behind Lord Lolorito in matters of commerce.
'Tis in acknowledgement of his own limitations that he seeks this power. Woe betide us all should we allow him to have it.
Pray waste no time chasing rats. Only a fool would believe that secrets can be kept in Uldar.
It would seem the implications of the Sultanate's refugee problem are rather more far-reaching than we assumed.
I do not remember Omega being brought up this early. Stories we tell. I should be glad to know the truth, and yet, the thought that all this chaos was the product of one man's lust for power sickens me. How long do you think they intended to hide the existence of Omega from the Scions? That they even felt they needed to do so is most troubling. It would be in our best interest to learn more of the military activities in the disputed territories. Fortunately, you were already well positioned to do so, Lieutenant Blyson. Pray keep us informed of any developments in Cartano. Begone, whelp. This is no place for children. I'm sorry. I was looking for you, mister. You said you were looking for the man who left with my parents? You know this girl? So he visited Stone's Throw as well, I see. Did you find the man? Where my parents Were my parents with him? They were not, I'm afraid. However, I can think of several places they might be. If you like, we can go and look for them together. Really? You'll help me look, mister? Of course, but first, I must needs finish speaking with my friend. He's telling me a secret, you see, so no one else is allowed to listen. Mayhap you could wait for me by that pillar over there. We require but a moment. Okay, mister, I'll be waiting. I'll take her to the quicksand. Mayhap Momodi will know what to do. A legion of Garleans, an Aether-starved primal, even dealing with an Ashian would be preferable to this charade. Sometimes I fear Minfilia is too ambitious. We rush hither and yon in response to threats that arise, without concern for the strain it places on our limited resources, and ourselves. Mayhap the time has come for change. Shadow, this is Minfilia. I know this is sudden, but I must ask you to return to Revenant's Toll with all due haste. The situation in the Twelves Wood has taken a turn for the worst. I will explain in detail when you arrive. The Twelves Wood? Then the primal threat she spoke of before has been confirmed. I have received no reports of Ixali activity, which leaves... the Sylphs? Go, Shadow. You know as well as I that the appearance of a primal takes precedence over all else. Oh, and when you arrive, do inform the antecedent that while I am grateful for her concern, she needn't fear for my safety. I am more than capable of protecting myself. It is a relief to see you healthy and hale, Shadow. The latest report from Ul'dah was most disturbing. Clearly, the only injury Alphino suffered was his ego. Doubtless, it will heal ere long. The other Scions will need to be present for this meeting. If you are ready to begin, I will summon them now. Lord of Levin. Thank you for responding to my call with such haste. Rest assured, I should not have summoned you were it not urgent. To business, then. I have received some most disturbing news from the Order of the Twin Adder. They have reason to believe that the Sylphs may have called forth their revered guardian, the primal Rama. I'm sorry, may have. Then it is not certain. The Elder Seedseer informed us that the elementals themselves murmur of the Lord of Levin's return to the forest. The Sylphlands, however, display no signs of undue commotion. Forgive me, antecedent, but that fact need not contradict the elemental's testimony. Unlike his more bellicose peers, Garuda and so on, Rama is reputed to act only in the defense of his children. I imagine he would soon make his presence known if any were foolish enough to directly endanger the Sylphs of their territory. The adeptness of this development concerns me. Were we not keeping a close watch on the touched ones and their movements? If preparations for a summoning ritual were indeed underway, 'twould surely have not escaped your notice. Oh, it didn't. I was pretty sure it was going to happen, just not this soon. I beg your pardon. You foresaw this eventuality and did not to prevent it. I told Papalimo. I suppose I could have reported things to Minfilia earlier, but there honestly wasn't much we could do except wait and see. You know how the Sylphs feel about people poking around in their territory. They already summoned Rama once after the calamity, but that was because the Garleans came tramping through their forest. And so long as Castor Morian stands, the Sylphs cannot be blamed for wishing to have their guardian deity on hand. In short, Ida and I are in agreement. The actions of the Forest Folk were inevitable and unavoidable. And I maintain that observation would have remained the best policy, and it not been for the sudden influx of strangers into the Black Shroud that, alas, we did not foresee. By all accounts, the recent violence in Ul'dah drove a number of refugees to seek safety under the concerning canopy of the trees. 'Tis like the Sylphs perceived this panic migration as yet another invasion, and quickened their efforts to summon their god. I am put in mind of Titan and the kobolds. Once again, it is the affairs of men which have paved the way for a primal's coming. Indeed, one cannot help but wonder what manner of place Eorzea would be without the civilizing influence of mankind. Be that as it may, this regrettable development does afford us a unique opportunity. Shadow, through your dealings with the Sylphs of Little Solace, you once succeeded in preventing an untimely conflicting with Gridania. I wonder, might one who has treated with the Sylphs so fruitfully in the past not achieve a similar success with their patron deity? If Rama can be convinced of our intentions, it may be the first step to breaking the cycle of primal summoning. A fond hope. Were such a thing possible, we would not have been at war with the Beastmen since time immemorial. And maybe this time we can... Let us continue this discussion anon. We must needs first consult with the nation most affected by Rama's present. The Elder Seedseer has requested your personal involvement, Shadow. Pray report to Commander Hulwa at the Adder's Nest as soon as you are able. Steel yourself for the worst. While I hope for a peaceful resolution of this matter, experience suggests that your meeting with the Lord of Leven will prove less than amicable. In such an event, your fellow scions will of course lend you whatever support you require. I like how the Serpent's Herald was there to tell us about Rama, and he wasn't involved in that scene at all. Is there an event going on I don't know about? Oh, that was somebody playing a... Okay. That spooked me for a second. Shadow of the Scions, your arrival has been most anticipated. The appearance of a primal is ever cause for alarm and unease. Though my men stand ready for any eventuality, I know of none more qualified than you to snuff out this threat. Indeed, I would have you do so without delay. The Elder Seedseer, however, would speak with you first. She's of the opinion that your diplomatic, rather than martial, skills may have better serve our cause. I will have further explanation to our learned leader. Pray make your way to Nofika's altar. The conjurer and attendants will admit you to the lotus stand. The other scions have already arrived, sir. May I show you in?
Scions of the Seventh Dawn, on behalf of the people of Gridania, I bid you welcome. Your presence is of great comfort to us all in these days of uncertainty. I summoned you here to share tidings of a most urgent nature. But a short while ago, the great elemental spoke, and his voice was clarion in its intensity. Ramu is returned unto the forest. Scarce had his words ceased to echo in mine ears when we were visited by an emissary from Little Solace.
Our
guest informs us that the sylphs too have sensed the presence of the Lord of Levin. Though his exact whereabouts remain unknown, we may safely assume that the primal was summoned within the heart of the Sylphlands. Unlike the other primals you have encountered, Lord Ramuh is no raging avatar of destruction. He is revered as much for his wisdom as his strength, serving as both arbiter and guardian to his children. Given that we and the Sylphs found a way to share the Twelve's Wood, it is my hope that this sagely immortal will be amenable to reason, and that conflict may be avoided. Blessed as you are with the power of the Echo, you are one of the few among us who may commune with a primal without fear of influence. I would ask, therefore, that you represent us in this most delicate of negotiations. The Twelve's Wood has suffered enough. Upon this, we and the Sylphs, and I would venture Lord Ramuh himself, are in perfect accord. Let us not endanger our shared home by engaging in unnecessary hostilities. Dear friend, I beseech you, safeguard the peace which exists between our peoples. You have my thanks. Pray make for little solace, then. A member of the Order of the Twin Adder awaits you there. He will advise you on how to find the Lord of Levin. An ill wind blows through the forest. Yet, it is not only the Twelve's Wood that flinches at its coming. All the lands of Eorzea shiver in dread anticipation. Have care.
That was foreboding. So now, back to Little Solace. Shadow of the Scions? I was told to expect you. I understand you go to treat with the primal Ramuh himself. An unenviable task, but one for which I have no doubt that you are well suited. I have been told that your fellow Scions are conducting an investigation of the area as we speak, that we might ascertain the location where the Lord of Levin might be found. I would ask that you abide here until their return with the findings. Levin an impression. It's been a while since there's been a good pun for these. I was told that a messenger would be sent as soon as your fellow Scions finish their investigation. I do not imagine it will be much longer. This one returns, and returns with good tidings. Wise ones have finished searching, and have wisely identified the precise location where the Touched One summoned Lord Ramuh. Your timing is impeccable, my fluttery friend. Might you be so kind as to escort the good man to his fellow Scions? It would be this one's pleasure, Walking One. Please come with this one. Am I still not allowed to mend? Oh. Wait, does he not mend gear? Nope, apparently not. Yeah, as fun as it would be to walk through the Sylph's Wood, I think Foghorn will help us through. Well, was it really that hard to tell where he was summoned? This seems like a pretty good headquarters to me. Wise ones have ventured deep, deep within the Sylph lands. These ones must proceed carefully and keep an eye out for touched ones. This one is most sorry, but this one can go no further. Draw too close to Lord Ramu, and this one may turn mean and nasty like touched ones, and so this one must say farewell for now. Walking one will find wise ones, but not far from here, to the south. Go in safely, walking one. So it's actually you. I'm relieved. For a moment, I thought we were dealing with another one of those confounded Sylph tricksters. I swear, with them wreaking havoc with their skin-changing magics, it's a wonder I have been able to finish taking my measurements. Yes, it was quite the ordeal. You should have seen the look on Ishtola's face when the one impersonating you suddenly showed up. That's quite enough, Papalimo. My apologies. It's not like me to ramble so. At any rate, as I was saying, I have finished measuring Aetheric activity in the area, and am pleased to say that I have reached an indisputable conclusion, to wit, that Rama was called forth in the vicinity of the Sylph's Aetherite. Come, Shadow, the Lord of Leven awaits.
Nora betrays thee, servant of hiding. Thou art the bringer of light, bane of Ifrit, Titan, Garuda, and Leviathan. I am Ramu, guardian of the children of the forest. Thou tramplest upon sacred soil, bringer of light. By what right doth man intrude in this sanctuary of the Sylphs? The Gridanians proffer peace? Their words are born of delusion, thine offer an insult. Thou speakest of harmony, yet carest naught for my children's desires. They did but wish to dwell beneath these boughs in solitude. Yet even that was too much to ask of man. Thus did they turn to me for succor. The sentence I pronounce upon thy kind is just. Gridanian or Garlean, it matters not. The good intent of one excuseth not the misdeeds of the other. Thy conflicts have brought naught but anguish and misery unto the forest. All blame doth lie with the darkness that resideth in the breast of man. Whence sprung this calamitous seed? In the beginning no such duality existed. Were light and dark given form when man was born? It would explain much. Not least why strife and sorrow follow ever in thy wake. Thou canst not deny the urgings of thine own nature. knowing that thy mere presence here portendeth tragedy, wilt thou persist in this pretense of peacemaking? Thou bearest the crystal which I bestowed upon my wayward charges. That they should entrust so precious a gift to thee. Thou standest apart from thy kin. Thou art the bringer of light, aye. But there is something more in thee. Very well. I shall consider thy proposal. Shouldst thou survive my trial. If thou wouldst champion the cause of harmony, I must have proof that thou art fit to play the role. Wither mine ire, and prove to me thereby that thou hast strength enough to stay the darkness which threateneth to consume thee. Yet if thou shouldst be found wanting, know that all men shall perish in the storm of my judgment. Come to me, bringer of light. I shall await thee on the field of battle.
Urianger, it is rare indeed to find you so far from a tome.
The Lord of Levin himself. Never till this day had I looked upon his visage, save in painted renderings made faint by time. Ever shall this scene remain etched in my mind's eye. Beg pardon, my lady. I must beg thine aid on a point of research. If thou art resolved to face Lord Ramu, I would ask thy leave to observe the event.
I always prefer the primals that I'm sorry. But the primals that like talked and actually interacted with us instead of just, you know, oh, I'm a big bad summon, fight me. That's why this is probably my favorite iteration of Ramu. Alright, so let's see if... I don't remember if there's a thing that can one-hit kill me or anything like that. Okay, so I can't be terrored. Oh, which lasts a very long time. Oh, okay. No, it doesn't. Ah, dang it. Wait. I'm doing 0. Oh, I need to kill these. And there fails Rama.
I have taken thy measure, bringer of light. And I judge thee a worthy champion. The task of excising the sin that hath taken root in man's heart is thine. Shrink not from employing thy strength in service to the forest and the wider realm beyond. Like hungering shadows do the enemies of harmony gather, and meekness will but feed them. If man is to be delivered from the dark, it shall be by thy guiding light alone. Stray not from the path, for if thou dost, thy people shall be truly lost.
Thou hast slain the Lord of Levin. A regrettable act, but a necessary one. In witnessing thy struggle, a truth hath been revealed unto me. If I mistake not, it may yet prove a chink in the eternal armor of the Ascian. But let us conclude our present business. I shall expound upon my findings at the Rising Stones anon.
I think we can fly to Little Solace. Gives us another opportunity to fly through the cool part of the forest. Shadow, you have returned. Dare I ask how Rama received your visit? He challenged you to a test of arms? It is well, then, that you have some experience in such matters. The peoples of both Gridania and Little Solace will be relieved to hear that the Lord 11 has been accepted, has accepted you as the forest champion of peace. You performed a monumental duty this day, Shadow. The elder seeds here must be informed of your deeds at once. What little gods are made of. The elder seer will wish to hear of your experiences firsthand. Pray return to Gridania and make directly for the Lotus Stand. The conjurer at Nufika's altar will be expecting you. Fare you well, Shadow.
You are returned to us, dear friend, and none the worse for bearing the heavy burden which I did press upon you. Most glad am I of this. I am informed that your efforts to negotiate a peace with Lord Ramuh ended in conflict. Pray tell me, what befell? Ramuh made trial of you? I fear there is truth to his claim. It is the darkness within us that attracts the darkness without. It cannot be denied that misfortune follows man. For evidence, one need only look to the conflict brewing in Cartano, or to the rising flood of refugees. Our shared struggle against the Empire should have served to seal our union. Yet the ties which bind the Alliance strain under the weight of gross self-interest. As the scars of the calamity begin to fade, so too does our sense of common purpose. Yet now is scarce the time to forget our shared responsibility. If this new-sprung realm is to survive beyond its infancy, it must needs be nurtured by all. Eorzea must be as one, yet I fear that dream is still far off. On behalf of the people of Gridania and the elementals both, I thank you for all that you and your fellow scions have done. Full oft have I been compelled to look to you for aid of late, and offered all too little in return. As leader of this nation, I shall endeavor to prove a more worthy ally to your cause henceforth.
You're darn right.
Lord Ramuh has departed, yet the keening of this ill wind grows no less insistent. Voices of the forest, pray speak and I shall listen. What unseen evil begets this unease in my heart?
Thus ends another daunting mission, eh, Shadow? I had hoped Lord Ramuh could be persuaded with words alone, but nonetheless I can only admire the adroitness with which he responded to the primal sudden challenge. And it seems that Urianger too is pleased with the outcome. What say you, Shadow? Shall we gather back at the Rising Stones and ponder the lessons of the day? Welcome back, Shadow. Word of your momentous encounter with Lord Rama precedes you. I would fain share news of mine own, but Urianger's discoveries must take precedence. Upon witnessing your defeat of the Lord 11, our learned companion was struck with a profound insight regarding the nature of the Ashian's immortality. Let us assemble and discuss his observations together.
If everyone is ready, let us begin. Urianger, the floor is yours.
As all here assembled now know, in its final hours as our Order's headquarters, the Waking Sands did play host to a most unexpected visitor. I speak of the Ascian clad in white, Elidibus. Unwelcome though his presence was, his words that day did serve to confirm a truth long suspected. that the Ascians are eternal beings, to whom physical destruction is as a temporary inconvenience.
In the intervening time, Urianger and I have striven to discover a means by which the Ascians might more permanently be slain.
And 'tis my belief that we have found the thread that will allow us to unravel the twisted skein of their existence. In the moments prior to Leviathan's most recent manifestation, the Sahagin elder who summoned him was observed to undergo some manner of ascension. The etheric readings taken by Y'shtola at the time of this transfiguration have proven most enlightening.
The disruption to the flow of ether was sudden and dramatic. So tangible was the agitation, I scarce had need of my goggles.
The significance of Y'shtola's readings might better be understood in the context of mine own, taken at the instant of the Lord of Levin's demise. Unlike the Primal, the Sahagin was not subject to etheric dissipation.
Before discussing our new discoveries, it may benefit us all to recall what we know of etheric behavior. Let us begin at what some might call the end. When we who dwell in the material realm die, our spirits dissolve into the flow of ether and are returned to the ethereal realm. In turn, the restless energy which suffuses that plane streams back into our world, giving rise to new life.
'Tis as the heavens did decree, the way of all mortal souls. Twixt this world and the next do the ethereal currents swirl, bearing the very essence of life. Thus doth the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth continue unabated.
Primals behave somewhat differently. In order to manifest and then maintain a physical presence in this realm, they must consume vast quantities of ether, most often in the form of crystals. Though they may seem to live, their flesh is but ether given shape. Thus, a defeated primal leaves behind no broken corpse. Rather, the essence of its form seeps back into the land whence it came, and the energy of its shattered spirit is called back to the ethereal realm.
And there it waiteth, till next the prayers of the faithful do draw it forth from the sea of ether, to take their offering of crystals and make for itself a new body.
Which brings us on to the third group, the so-called immortals. They exist in a manner all their own.
Quite. Even as the Sahagin elder fell to the Admiral's musket shot, I witnessed the release of an ethereal cloud, which immediately took possession of a nearby minion.
A soul that dissipateth not upon the death of the flesh.
The secret of life everlasting, and in the claws of a Sahagin no less. But I wonder, what would happen to one of these obstinate spirits, should there be no suitable host for it to claim?
If mortal death entails a return to the ethereal realm, it seems doubtful that the soul of an immortal would venture there.
Nay, it merely withdraweth the distance, unto the shore of the ethereal sea, perchance, but no further.
Yes, it exists in neither this realm nor the next, abiding instead in the space that lies between them. The Ascians took control of Thancred by means of a crystal of darkness, an artifact which, if our theories are correct, serves as a gateway to the place I have just described.
I was hoping people had forgotten about that.
I am sorry, my friend.
For a mercy, the weary road of our research hath brought us unto an answer.
The Sahagin ascended to an immortal state, but he did not possess a crystal of darkness through which to flee this realm. Thus was he consumed by Leviathan. If we could entrap the spirits of defeated Asians in like manner, and thereby deny them resurrection...
Therein lieth the path to victory. Thou art most perceptive, my lady. Only when we have trapped the bodiless soul within an ethereal prison can we hope to defeat its unnatural constancy. Thus might even an eternal paragon be consigned to oblivion.
These feats are, of course, far easier said than done. At present, we lack a viable means to entrap and extinguish an Asian soul. Yet, I believe it to be possible. The pieces of the puzzle lie before us. We have but to put them together.
I will depart at once to convene with the sages of Sharlayan. Together shall we divine the steps by which our goals may be achieved.
I have the utmost faith in you, Archon.
Beg pardon, antecedent, but I would raise one final matter. Even now, a Sharlayan survey party seeketh to ascertain the fate of the students of Baldessian. Their findings shall soon be known to us. Though you harbor feelings of dread, I bid you surrender not to sorrow, but abide instead in hopeful prayer.
I shall, Archon. Thank you.
The Lord of Leven is returned to the Aether, as was Leviathan before him. Ramuh's acquiescence was most intriguing. Inferno, Vortex, Crag, Horror, and Leven all have been humbled by the Bringer of Light. The limitless potential of man, Hydaelyn's servant, grows mightier by the day. Yet he prospers at great cost to his mistress, whose strength is all too finite. 7 times have the masses survived the rejoining, but their souls are grown weak and wane. Yet even as it innervates, the ardor empowers our master. All that remains is to nurture the strength of the gifted, to forge the final key. And that is the task to which we bend our every effort. Divine seeds were ever wont to quicken in Eorzea's fertile soil. We need only lend more to the field, and by their eager hand shall a new deity arise. That which was shattered shall be made anew, and the one true God shall come again. The Guardian of Eorzea. Wait, 1 second. I want to make sure that I'm not going, because I actually forgot where 5.3 ends and 2.3 ends, and the other one starts. So give me just a moment to get through this. Ah, no, we still got a bit here. Alright. Guardian of Eorzea. Now the matter of Rama as for the present, been put to rest, there is something I would show you, Shadow. It is a letter of thanks signed by the leaders of the Eorzean Alliance, acknowledging the Scion's tireless service to the realm. It mentions, in particular, the names of all the defeated primals: Ifrit, Titan, Garuda, Good King Magamog XII, Leviathan, and now Ramu. Needless to say, there is only one among our number to have faced them all. And though these words of gratitude were addressed to our order as a whole, I feel they were meant for you above all others. I, too, must offer my heartfelt thanks for all that you have done. In the course of your duties, you have never once failed to answer my call to arms. You are a true hero, Shadow, and Eorzea is that much the safer for your presence. Pray do not misunderstand me. I said safer, not safe. I know only too well that we can ill afford to lower our guard. The Ascians may be relied upon to show chaos in this realm until such a time as they are forced to stop. Why, even without their encouragement, you may be assured that man would foment strife on his own, and that is to say nothing of the beast tribes. Unless we learn to live in harmony, the primals, too, will return to plague us again and again and again. And yet, despite all of this, your deeds serve to inspire the people, to give them hope for a better tomorrow, and there is no greater gift. That we have the courage to strive for what might otherwise seem an impossible peace, we owe in no small part to the dangers you have faced on our behalf, and the people have won over to our cause in so doing. Our list of enemies has ever been long, but think of the allies to whom we are now blessed. Of the sylphs of Little Solace, whom wish not of conflict. Of Alice, who strives to unearth the terrible secrets of the calamity. And then there is Cid, and the Fellowship of Noah, racing to unlock the mysteries of ancient Allag, that we might be spared the horror of another Ultima weapon. Of course, when speaking of our great allies, we must not forget those closest to us, by which I mean our fellow Scions. Thanks to their many and varied talents, our order is uniquely equipped to combat the far-reaching corruptions of the Ascians, and combat it we shall. Your enthusiasm is truly heartwarming, antecedent, given our embarrassing wealth of allies. I trust it will not inconvenience you unduly if I absent myself for a time. Alphino, I take it the troubles in Ul'dah no longer require your attention? There are yet some rumblings of discontent, but the air of shimmering violence is largely dissipated. 'Tis to report such that I stand before you now. That, and to speak with you concerning the new organization we discussed. I have a message for you from, you recall the refugee girl? The one whose parents were missing? They were found unharmed. She wishes me to pass her thanks to you. Why, Alphino, am I to understand you made the effort to remember the poor girl's name? I look forward to reading all about her in your report. I do hope you left nothing out. Shadow, you have been away from Revenant's Toll for some time now, I believe. Might I suggest that you put the affairs of the realm to one side for the moment and take this opportunity to reacquaint yourself with the town? Which reminds me, one of the Doman children recently inquired as to your whereabouts. Yozan was his name, I believe. I believe he has some small matter he wishes to share with you. Why not oblige him with a visit? Look, it's Mr. Shadow. He's back from his adventures. We heard you were all fighting primals, and that they're some of the strongest enemies you could ever face. I wish I could have seen you in battle. Anyway, we all want to be heroes too, so we finally formed our very own Doman's Adventurers Guild to protect all Domans. Oh, do you think you could train us today, Mr. Shadow? Maybe you could show us how to fight the primals. What's all the commotion, then? Mr. Boulder and Miss Coltonay, did you know that Mr. Shadow is back? So it would seem. Welcome home, Shadow. My companion and I are but recently became full members of the Scions, and I believe proper introductions have yet to be made. I am known as Ori Boulder, and this bookish fellow is Coltene. Though we remain largely unproven as adventurers, we have taken it upon ourselves to instruct the Doman younglings in the art of combat. I told you, Mr. Boulder, we are not younglings anymore. We are adventurers. And we were just asking Mr. Shadow if he could give us special training. I think you're ready to hunt monsters alongside him, don't you? Well, you've certainly been diligent with your drills, but I'm afraid the fiends of Mardona are still ever so slightly too dangerous for you. I have a counter-proposal. What if I were to cross swords with Shadow? A demonstration of skill at arms, if you will. Ori, if I didn't know any better, and I do, I'd say you're merely seeking to test yourself against the legend. Ha! Mayhaps I am. But what matters the motive when the children stand to learn so much from the lesson? What say you, Shadow? Would you consent to spar with me? Hurrah! We're to have a tournament. Come on, everyone. We must prepare our gear for an outing. Do try not to disappoint them, Have faith, Coltene. I shall summon every last ounce of my strength to make of this worthy contest. The fields to the east of town should prove suitable for our purpose. I shall much look forward to our bout. It was good of you to agree to this, Shadow. I trust you're ready to begin? Very well. Let us not keep the younglings waiting any longer. Ori? Are you certain you wish to fight him alone? That is Shadow you face. What better way to test my mettle? Pray allow me to attempt the first round unaided. After all, 'twas this hero's legend that led me to join the Scions to begin with. Without Shadow to inspire my efforts, I would not be half the warrior I am today. Your point is well made, but remember, this is for the children's sake as well as your own. Should it appear the contest will end too swiftly, I shall add my spells to your blade work. Hello, you haven't begun yet, have you? Yida? Who are all these people? When I heard about your sparring match, I told everyone I could find. Thought you could use a crowd to cheer you on. Yes, and there are still more to come. When I mentioned Shadow's name, the reaction was quite enthusiastic. Why, my own popularity seems but a sickly shade in comparison. You'd best claim victory, bringer of light. Your burgeoning reputation is at stake. Well, our teacher won't be beaten so easily. He's a master swordsman. You can win, Mr. Boulder. We shall soon see. On your guard. Here's the Final Fantasy II music again. Such power, the tales barely do you justice. Mr. Boulder won't lose, will he? It's not over yet. It can't be. Aye, the children have the right of it. 'Tis time I join the fray. On your feet, Shadow. Ori! I must admit defeat. 'Twas an honor and a privilege. Oh no, he looks hurt. Mr. Shadow is so strong, but you can't give up, Mr. Boulder. Can't disappoint the younglings. Never have I faced such strength. We took down the boulder. You have bested me. I yield. That was incredible. He beat them both at the same time. We knew you couldn't lose, Shadow. None can defeat the Guardian of Eorzea. Now I see why they send you to deal with the primals. I have much work to do if I'm ever to attempt the same. Impressive as always, Shadow. 'Tis ever a pleasure to witness the spectacle of your martial prowess. And judging by the smiles on these many faces, they, too, appreciate the hard-won strength that keeps the perils of the realm at bay. Guardian of Eorzea. Yes, that is a most fitting title. Do you recall when first we met? 'Twas at the memorial service for the Battle of Cartano. At the time, I was yet attempting to understand this land of Eorzea. I sought to grasp the reason why Grandfather willingly sacrificed himself to protect it. I shall speak plainly. My initial impressions were less than favorable. Dire problems abounded, and yet the effort I saw expended towards their solution was haphazard and half-hearted. I thought Eorzea was a foolish and childish people. Considering the shambles of the homes they were in, I would not have been surprised if some had chosen to swear allegiance to Gaius in the order he proposed to enforce. The legatus' simple-minded military invasion precluded any such switching of loyalties, of course. Were it not for a desire to continue Grandfather's legacy, I would have abandoned the realm to its fate long ago. The threats were too many, the nations too self-involved and unstable. 'Twas you who convinced me the salvation of Eorzea was possible. 'Twas you who taught me, through countless acts of bravery, that what my grandsire sought to preserve was not the land, nor its history, nor any single nation. It was the people, these wonderful, oft infuriating, stubborn people that suffer blow after terrible blow, only to drag themselves back to their feet to face another day. Though he never put such feelings into words, I believe Grandfather's admiration for this inextinguishable courage grew into a fervent wish, a wish to aid Eorzea and its inhabitants in charting a course for the future. I wish that is now my own. I, too, will endeavor to take up the mantle of Guardian of Eorzea and champion these people who toil towards a better world. Our case, however, is not a simple one. The troubles that plague us are of a scale that cannot be solved by the scions of the Seventh Dawn alone. No, what is needed to tackle the root of the primal threat and effectively counter the schemes of the Ascians is a new, expanded organization that operates beyond the limitations of nations and borders. If you would aid me in building such an organization, then pray let us continue this discussion back within the walls of the Rising Stones. I guess I'll take now to comment that I did, if you notice, Minfilia did mention Alice doing something and Sid doing something. Those are just not going to be possible. Not very stream friendly. I might do something to get it prepared, but it's just, I can't make it work. It might be just something I record and not stream, which means it might be presented differently. But as of right now, there might just be stuff that you'll miss out on if you're using just this to get the story of Final Fantasy XIV. Thank you for coming, Shadow. The world shifts and alters, and we, my friend, must ever be one step ahead of the chaos. What I propose is the formation of a new organization, a group that shall pave the way for the true united Eorzea. Recruiting the Realm. Pray forgive me, I tread over old ground, but I would first speak of the grand plan. Since the advent of the 7th Astral Era, the leaders of the three nations have been deliberating over an accord that seeks to bring the disparate forces of Eorzea together into a single entity. A realm-wide grand company, if you will. The military might of such an institution would be drawn from every corner of the land, and directed against threats that no single nation could hope to overcome alone. Yet while the purpose of this hypothetical organization is undisputed, the logistics of its formations have become the source of an endless debate. And the longer these discussions continue, the more I sense the impetus towards unification draining away. Thus have I been campaigning for the creation of what might be considered a trial company. It will be on a much smaller scale than what we hope to eventually achieve, but capable of the same manner of unrestricted operation according to the Scions. 'Tis my hope that the successful utilization of such a force will lend momentum to the lagging deliberations. Also, being a primarily military outfit, I mean to assuage fears of its misuse by placing the fledgling organization under the authority of the antecedent. The Scions work tirelessly to protect Eorzea and its people. But as you yourself have witnessed with the refugee revolt, there are limitations to what we can achieve. With this new company under the Scion's command, however, we will be capable of responding to a wider range of difficulties without straining our resources or overtaxing our formidable talents. The goal of my proposed organization and those of the Scions are ultimately identical, a point conceded by all concerned. But before I can move forward with establishing this precursor to the true border-spanning Grand Company, 'tis yet necessary that I visit the three leaders and gain their official approval. A tiresome and time-consuming task, which is why I would ask that you accompany me on the journey and attend to the business of recruiting our inaugural members, while I am otherwise engaged with bureaucratic formalities. Thank you. 'Tis reassuring indeed to know that the bringer of light and his discerning eye will be selecting our future allies. Our first destination will be Limsa Lominsa. Let us rendezvous at Bulwark Hall. Oh, there you are. I'm ready to ascend the bridge and speak with Admiral Blofuswin. While the Admiral and I are finalizing promissory boundaries and signing parchments, I would have you begin the recruitment process in earnest. I have, of course, endeavored to spread the word of our organization through various channels, but I believe a personal approach will reach many who may otherwise remain ignorant of the opportunity. As for potential members, 'tis of no matter should they already be pledged to another institution. Only that they are willing to lend their strength when the situation demands it. And you needn't range into the countryside. The upper decks alone are populated with sufficient candidates to suit our purpose. Once you are satisfied with your recruiting efforts, meet me at the airship ticket counter that we might prepare for the next leg of the journey. Oof. Okay. This would be a little time consuming, but it'd be okay. Wait, where's the quickest way to the upper decks? Oh well, we get to tour Lominsa. We haven't really walked around and enjoyed a place in a while. An organization with the freedom to operate with territorial impunity? I must say, your proposal intrigues me, but the Kraken is well known that there is a time to act and a time to watch. I'm afraid this trial company of yours falls into the latter category. Master Alphino's new organization. Yes, I have heard the formation of his trial company was in the offing. 'Tis with regret, however, that I must decline your invitation. As commander of the Yellow Jackets, the protection of Limsa must needs be received by my full attention. So now let's teleport to... See, I don't know what you call that. Oh, the Ash Castle. Yeah. Shorten the trip a little bit. Eh? Who in the bloody else do you think you're talking to, Drylander? I'm a pirate, not some sodden knight in shining plate. If you're looking for a self-righteous fop, try knocking on the dandy Carvalians next door. She was very direct. I can respect that. A precursor to a united Eorzean Grand Company. While I do admire the scope of your ambition, my responsibilities here at Nalquid and Vermillies keep me close to the forge. I have not the time to be tripasing hither and yon across the realm. Should you require my skills in armor, however, I might be willing to accept some special commissions. Well, if it ain't Shadow, I'd not forget a venture brave enough, or daft enough, to seek the shortcut into Titan's bedchamber. You remember old Riol, don't you? Formerly of the Company of Heroes, 3 whistles at Bronze Lake. Aye, it ain't often I drag me ours out to Limsa for a drink. But I'm right glad I did. How fare you these days? Look to put together a new crew. Top-tier work. Sounds like a right lark it does. Alright, lad, count me in. The heroes might have gone their separate ways, but I ain't ready to climb into my grave just yet. So that's 1 out of 5. Not a very good start. Shadow, you recruiting Whitwell I trust? I'm curious as to how my proposal was received by the rough and ready folk of Limsa. I remember the legendary company of heroes a member of the legendary company of heroes indicated his interest? Astonishing. I knew enlisting your aid was the right choice. Few could boast the acquaintance of such an elusive character. I too was successful in my task. The Admiral consented to sign all the documents requiring the approval. I can only hope that my visit with the Elder Seedseer proceeds as smoothly. Pray continue on to Gridania at your own pace. I shall await your arrival at Nofika's altar. Are they doing Through the Fire and Flames? No, they're not. It's Those Who Fight Further. Embarrassing that I didn't get that. But that's pretty cool. Anyway, my audience with the Elder Seedseer is due to commence momentarily. I would be grateful if you were to once more see to the task of recruitment here in Gridania. After you deem the well of potential candidates has run dry, let us rendezvous at the airship ticket counters before. That was cool, but he probably was a little distracting. I haven't seen anybody be that skilled with the instruments yet. Oh God, can it truly be you? By what fickle fortune must this first face I see upon my release be yours? Ah, could it be that you don't remember me? It is I, Laurentius, the man whose crimes you expose. I was a whaler and a regular patron at Buscarin's. Well, of course you do now. I was beginning to wonder if jail had changed me more than I realized. Not that I had any particular wish to be recognized after my shameful conduct. The less said of my past, the better, I suppose. And what of you, adventurer? What business brings you to this part of Gridania? Recruiting, eh? And what is your policy on reformed convicts? As matters stand, the wood whalers would have not more to do with me. This may just be the second chance I was looking for. Revenant's toll, you say? I shall leave at once. You shall not regret this. I promise you, I am a changed man. Grandfather, you must call it a day. Let us return to the guild and rest ere your tormented back gives up on you for good. I'm terribly sorry. We were just... Oh, Shadow, isn't it? It has been some time since our paths crossed outside the Copperbell Mines. Why, you were barely more than a novice adventurer then, but look how far you've come. Mother Mione tells us 'twas you who felled the fearsome Black Wolf. And now you seek stout-hearted souls to fill the ranks of a new order. Well, your cause is undoubtedly just, and my old companion here would be much relieved to see me in good hands. Yes, I'll do it. This is the very thing I've spent my entire adventuring career looking towards. I shall join your company as soon as I've seen Isildur safely home. Our luck is much better in Gridania, it seems. You would offer this old man a place in your company of champions? I am both puzzled and honored by your invitation. Pray forgive me, young master, but I cannot accept. I have sworn to abide here for whatever scant years remain to me, and bear responsibility for the evils my lady has wrought upon this land. We tried to recruit the old butler. 'Tis not often a guild officer such as myself gets recruited, and this company of yours certainly seems to have some promise, but its duties appear less than focus. I must refuse your invitation until such time as your organization is more, well, organized. So we're 2 out of 4 there. Way more successful. What news, Shadow? For my part, the Elder Seedseer was most amiable to our requirements. A former wood whaler and a seasoned adventurer. Our company will not lack for variety, that much is certain. An interesting harvest indeed. Shall we strike into Ul'dah whilst the iron is hot? Let us meet at the Royal Promenade and endeavor to conclude our remaining business. Our journey draws to a close. Ul'dah, the gilded city, where's one fortune defines one's worth. I hope some manner of fortune is with us, and that this final leg proves as successful as the previous two. Might I suggest descending to the lower level before beginning your recruitment efforts? I do not think the Sultana would take kindly to us poaching from her personal guard. Let us meet back here at the promenade when our respective tasks are completed. Good hunting, Shadow. Okay, so we need to descend into the merchant strip. We probably could have teleported somewhere, but I actually don't like adventure into this part of Ul'dah very much. So I like wandering through the halls every once in a while. Have you come to tell me the news, soldier? Well, I've already heard it. Seems the would-be savior Ul'dah's refugees went and got himself killed, and not by your hand. He was just as much a pawn as the helpless cast-offs he sought to deceive, eh? That's not why you're here? Ah, you'd be surprised what rumors drift down to Pearl Lane. I know of this glorious new company of yours, and just how far I'd go to avoid getting involved with it. Whispers on the street say your organization is funded by corrupt coin, by syndicate money. If you think you're recruiting for a just cause, then you're a bigger fool than I took you for. It's busy around the markets. A company that looks to cure the ills of the realm entire? Listen, friend, I can scarce bear the complaints of the next all over, let alone the conundrums of a neighboring nation. Ul'dah's not doing too well so far. Oh, what a happy coincidence. Do you remember me, perchance? I am Arson, of the Church of Saint Adama Landama. Thank you again for your timely rescue. And I must also thank you for preventing that fraudulent priest from preying on dry bones less fortunate. A most upsetting business. Are you here with your companion? Thancred, wasn't it? Ah, 'tis new companions you seek then. Your proposed organization sounds a powerful force for good, but my place is at the church with the children. Nevertheless, I wish you well in this undertaking. Seeing a bunch of old faces. This is fun. I'm sorry, you wish to recruit me? Is this some new-fashioned manner of of propositioning a lady. Well, I'm afraid you're wasting your time. This lady is already spoken for. Good day to you, sir. Yeah, I don't know why we'd go there. Ah, the last one is near the Colosseum. Wait, you're the man who came to Little Alamigo looking for that masked devil. Who knows what might have happened if you hadn't... I'd probably be dead. And a whole lot more of my friends besides. We were such fools. Any road, that disaster really got me thinking about our homeland and about the outsider who saved us from ourselves. I realized how easily I'd been manipulated and vowed to make of myself a more worldly man. So here I am. A new company of champions. And you say it will take me to all corners of the realm? This sounds exactly like the kind of opportunity I need. And don't worry, I'm not the same stripling you met in Little Alamigo. I'm prepared to fight the evil I know is out there. So we only got 1 out of 5 there again. How fared you, Shadow? What hidden gems did the streets of Ul'dah offer up to your unrelenting gaze? A single Alamigan youth. Well, you've certainly given us an admirable start, even if our ranks are yet somewhat thin. In these troubled years following the calamity, talk of Eorzea's salvation must seem akin to grasping at clouds. But there are those who have risen to the challenge nonetheless, and the hope that inspires these people was born in no small part from the victories you yourself have won. Thank you, Shadow. I will not squander the precious gift you have placed into my keeping. These recruits will become the foundation of a new beginning. And yes, we are free to begin. As you have no doubt surmised, the Sultana also graced my trial company with her blessings. Our first wave of recruitment is over, the documents signed, and the finances secure. There is naught to prevent me from taking the next step. You were concerned by the Syndicate's involvement, as I was. Thus was the origin of every coin of the contribution carefully scrutinized and recorded. This organization will not be built on corruption. Naturally, I would prefer not to rely upon the outside sources at all, but even my family's substantial coffers would not sustain a venture of this magnitude. And as for the rumors and doubts surrounding this enterprise, well, such things shall plague us until the company has had a chance to prove its worth. It will not be an easy process, but we will earn people's trust one success at a time. Speaking of a time, we should waste no more of it. Let us begin to the Rising Stones and lay the first stone for a united Eorzea. We get a free airship ticket over there, seems.
Tell me, General, what think you of Alfino's bold endeavor?
I think it is more than bold, Your Grace. His organization would pave the way for a united Eorzea. Well do I understand his impatience, since facing the common threat of the Ultima weapon, our nations have seemed farther apart, not closer together. Considering the many problems we face, should we not be glad that someone else is taking the initiative?
We have all pledged our cooperation, yet the grumbling continues behind closed doors. Ul'dah is not alone in her duplicity. I myself have doubts as to the good this organization will achieve. With the inclusion of the finest soldiers of the 3 grand companies, it promises to be a fearsome military body. But whom will it serve? Even under the watchful gaze of the Scions, it is not unthinkable that such a force could perpetrate a great wrong. Does it not concern you that a significant proportion of its financial backing came from the coffers of the Syndicate? That those unprincipled worms might forge this extraordinary gathering of warriors into a private army?
I have trust in the Scions, Your Grace. They have spared us no end of trouble at the hands of the Primals. If they seek reinforcements, I deem it unwise to deny them. As for their finances, full many gave generously. And though our nobles proffered a sizable sum, their coin did not spill from the pockets of Lolorito and his cronies. And what of the presence of our stalwart adventurer friend in this endeavor? I doubt the Warrior of Light would betray our cause.
Yes, there is that, I suppose. Yet I have known people to change. Whether we will or no, the events of the age hurl us this way and that, like a dust devil skipping across the sands. Cannot be done about Telechi?
I have explored all avenues available to us, Your Grace. But as Ul'Dan law now stands, we lack the evidence to convict him of any crime. To arrest him on spurious grounds would only play into his hands.
He has all but committed treason, and yet we can do nothing? Then what good our government? What worth the royal house? How deplorable this mockery of justice!
Have faith, Your Grace. It is not over.
Isn't it nice that we no longer have to go to Horizon? I do not miss the Waking Sands. That is not a journey I would soon wish to repeat, but I cannot pause to rest. The culmination of our effort is at hand. I must see to the preparations for the inaugural ceremony. Thank you for allowing me to monopolize your services, Shadow. I am certain the antecedent will be relieved to see you free from her duties. Heretical harassment. Greetings, Shadow. Alphino tells me all is in place to begin his trial company. The Scions shall certainly be grateful to have the support of each organization. The inaugural ceremony is set to take place here at the Rising Stones. Tataru is cooperating with Alphino to see that all is in readiness, so I'm afraid the recruits themselves have been left to their own devices for the time being. Quite a number of new faces have arrived in Revenant's Toil of late, and I wonder if Slathborn might not find himself overwhelmed. Would you speak with him and see if there's aught he requires? What can I do for you, Shadow? I thought you'd have your hands full helping out with this new arm of the Scions. I barely noticed your recruits arrived. This was barely a trickle compared to the flood of treasure hunters we have passed through here every day. While I appreciate your offer of aid, 'tis more your burden that concerns me. I'm told this trial company will answer directly to the antecedent, so I trust that means less work for you in the long run. Slaffborn, the shipment! We couldn't... Gods, woman, what befell? We were bringing a shipment to Revenant's Toll, provisions earmarked for the frontier effort. But just as we sought to cross over into Mardona, we were set upon by brigands. I believe they may have been heretics. There were many, too many. We only escaped with our lives by abandoning the supplies. Pray forgive us. There is naught to forgive. Provisions can be replaced, but smart soldiers are hard to find. Take your rest, and I'll have something along to tend to those wounds. What to do? If heretics are involved, then this is like to be more than a case of simple thievery. Ishgard will need to be informed. Whence did these supplies originate? House Fortemps. We collected the provisions from Camp Dragonhead proper. Understood. I shall see that they are appraised of this development. Shadow. Were you not on good terms with the Knights of House Fortemps? I will be sending them a missive immediately, of course, but I could also have you travel there and offer your considerable talents. Yes, I realize I contradict my earlier hopes to lighten your load, but I need someone who can help bring this incident to a satisfactory conclusion. Our favorable relations with Ishgard are far too important to risk half measures. Thank you for understanding. I am certain Lord Honchfont will be glad of your assistance. We get to see Honchfont again. Honchfont's a great lad. And it's been a hot second since we've been in Korthus. Why I ran around that way, I do not know. I mean, that way longer than it had to be. Well, if it isn't my fine friend Shadow Blyson, would you care for a plate of roast caracul? Some mulled wine? Nah. I see you have not come into my hall merely to escape the biting cold. I was, in fact, on the verge of opening an urgent missive from Revenant's Toll, and I suspect the timing of your arrival is no coincidence. When the cold steps in.
The incident with the new frontier hands? No, you need not elaborate. I have been following their progress with no small amount of interest. Brave men and women all. They do our nation a great service. The existence of a fortified outpost in Mordona will do much to dissuade the Empire from trespassing on Kurthus soil. Right glad am I that you have chosen to lend your support to this endeavor. Never let it be said that House Fortom does not acknowledge the efforts of her allies, or her debts. 'Twas in the spirit of gratitude that I arranged for sundry supplies to be delivered to Revenant's Toll. That the shipment should chance to be waylaid by heretics is poor fortune indeed. Poor fortune, I say, yet not without precedent. If you would know the truth of it, these incorrigible villains grow more organized with each passing day. This new unity of purpose we attribute to their leader, the Lady Iceheart. But though I have devoted significant resources to the task of identifying this woman, we have yet to learn so much as her birth name. What we do know is that the heretics speak of Iceheart in reverent tones, and would gladly embrace death rather than betray her. Such loyalty is rare indeed, and I fear to imagine what so committed a collective might achieve. The brigands have not yet been so brazen as to risk direct confrontation here in Dragonhead. Some few of their number have, however, been sighted not far to the west of here, and with ever-increasing regularity, a visit to Whitebrim Front may bring you the answers you seek. Will you brave the snows?
knowing what implacable foes may lie in wait. Halone's blessings be upon you. Though I take no pride in the admission, many of mine own countrymen are not so well suited as you adventurers to dealing with such foes. Were they dragons, it might be otherwise. But truly, I could not wish for a finer ally. You have done much for my house in the past, and I have no doubt but that I shall have cause to celebrate your deeds again ere long. Should you learn aught of value, pray return to me forthwith. A warm hearth and a warmer welcome shall be waiting for you.
An embarrassing tidbit there, as I just learned that I've been saying for Tom wrong since the game came out, I guess. Okay, so we're off to investigate this Lady Iceheart. See, it was just sunny, like 5 seconds ago. It just went away. Shadow, welcome, welcome. You'll be pleased to know that the repairs to Stone Vigil proceed apace. We shall rebuild sure and strong, that the Dravanians might batter themselves senseless against our shield in the west. I would venture, however, that matters of masonry are not what brought you to Whitebrim. On the trail of a band of thieving heretics, you say? By the Fury. But you do seem destined to cross paths with those villains. I must confess, then, 'tis a sad truth that the wilds hereabout have indeed grown thick with their number. They strike swiftly, without warning, and are canny enough to evade our most able trackers. But 'tis not merely their newfound organization that confounds us. The heretics themselves seem somehow changed. I know not what matter of influence this Iceheart wields, but the men we face seem utterly lost in the grip of righteous fervor. 'Tis an unsettling and unnatural zeal. Mayhap you could care to question one of the recent victims. As fate would have it, your arrival came moments after a traitor was waylaid on the road. A patrol found the unfortunate fellow lying senseless in the snow, and carried him to our infirmary. Assuming he has regained the use of his faculties, the merchant might recall some small detail that could aid you in your task. The layout of Whitebrim always confused me. He's here. Somewhere. Tell you what happened? Why, yes, of course. I'm quite recovered enough for that. Anything to help catch those cowardly Blackhearts. I was traveling my usual route to Whitebrim Front when a sudden blow sent me reeling. The next thing I know, I was on the ground, and several heretics were rifling through my cargo. Arms, armor, crystals, they were taking everything. 'Twas then that one of them noticed my bleary glaze, and stalked over to better acquaint my head with his mace. Before darkness claimed me, however, I distinctly heard the words, "Return to Snowcloak." I dare say that this is where they were hauling my goods. But you'll not catch me rushing off in pursuit. They tell me 'twas a miracle I survived at all, and I'll not trust my thick skull to save me a second time. Stormcloak. I haven't played Skyrim in years. Why is that in my head? I'm probably actually pronouncing all of the names of the houses wrong. Fortone. Fortone? See, I don't know. Gah! Draw your weapon foul. Oh, wait, I recognize you, adventurer. You were come seeking heretics. Then we share a common purpose. We were on patrol when we chanced across one of their raiding parties and pursued them here. By rights, we should have had them cornered by this ravine, and yet they are gone, vanished like icy rays. You glimpsed a woman atop the cliff? Could it be Iceheart herself came to sneer at our folly? And to where did she disappear? The heretics must have discovered a passage through the frozen wall, some hidden tunnel that escaped our notice. We have not the men to risk further investigation. 'Twould be best were we to return to Whitebrim Front and lay our suspicions before Lord Drelmont. Probably mispronouncing that too. Ishgardian names, man. Shadow, it appears I owe you my thanks once again. The surviving knights spared no detail in the report. The men you found out near Snowcloak were some of my finest, and they should be bested so handily. I fear I have woefully underestimated the threat these heretics pose. While I understand you might balk to the notion, I must ask that you put aside your mission and consider the stolen provisions lost to us for now. 'Twould be ill-advised to blunder unprepared into what may well be the very lair of our enemy. Pray, return to Dragonhead and inform Lord Honchfon of your discoveries. He will wish to plan contingencies of his own. As for Iceheart and her fanatics, the freezing heights of Snowcloak will not shield them from our justice for long.
Your return is most timely. Of their own accord, my thoughts had turned to your task and the progress thereof. I confess, my imaginings tended toward the grim and bloody. But you are here now, and I suspect such frivolous wonderings do little justice to the reality of your travails. Tell me, what did you learn of Iceheart? Indeed, and this transpired at Snowcloak? Of all the highlands, that towering wall has borne the worst of the region's brutal shift in climate. So inhospitable has Snowcloak become that we have still to survey the area in its entirety. Could its frozen heights conceal the heretics' hideaway? Mayhap a more robust reconnaissance effort is in order. Putting such considerations aside for the moment, we still know far too little of this Iceheart. That she is capable of commanding such a band of fanatics bespeaks natural authority, and no small measure of charisma. As much as I would like to fathom this mystery with you, the situation has grown beyond my personal purview. I am bound by duty to inform the Temple Knights and request that they bring this matter to its conclusion. Given the glowing reports the new commander has garnered thus far, I am certain that they can be relied upon to take appropriate action. Though Iceheart's true identity yet eludes us, you have provided us with a point from which to begin. Sometimes it takes but a single stone to prompt an avalanche. On the matter of the stolen provisions, I have already made arrangements for a second shipment to be sent to Revenant's Toll. I could not well allow such an honorable venture to be undermined by one miserable setback.
So we got our eye on a new potential enemy. Shadow, 'tis good to see you return to the Toll. How fared you in the frozen wastes of Korthus? House Fartom is sent to send us a second shipment. I must send thanks to Lord Honchefont for his continued generosity. Yet, even as our town grows in prosperity, I fear it will attract ever greater members of those who would do us harm in the name of the greed or power. All of us, Alphino's new recruits included, must remain vigilant against such threats. Brave new companions. While you were away in Korthus, preparations for the inaugural ceremony were all but completed, although Tataru does yet seem somewhat flustered. I've taken enough of your time. Why don't you head into the Rising Stones and see if your frantic receptionist could do with a hand? These parchments need to be sorted, and these documents, why are they even here? Oh, I'm sorely tempted to file the lot in my waste paper basket. Ah, Shadow, you startled me. You wish to lend me a hand. Splendid. Would you be a dear and hand those uniforms to the new recruits? They're scattered about Revenant's Toll, and I haven't the time to track them all down. The recruits know to don the garments immediately and assemble here in the Rising Stones. You'll want to report directly back to Alphino if you don't want to miss the ceremony. I wonder if the Scions will ever have matching uniforms. A well-funded organization is a well-dressed organization, I suppose. See, we didn't get 8 recruits. We barely got 4. Guess the other 4 might have been just around. Those who believe the company will see no riches are short-sighted fools. The giving of oneself 'tis an investment in the future. Thus did I sign my name to the cause. These uniforms were a splendid idea. Once our organization has made a name for itself, there should be a wealth of plenty in selling replica costumes to the adoring masses. Well, he has good intentions, I see. Ah, here's Laurentius. I thought it would be best to mimic my fellows here, but I admit that I have no idea what we're supposed to be doing. Ah, our new uniforms. I am reminded of my induction into the Wood Whalers. The scarlet garb makes me a proud member of the Maelstrom and a hardy defender of Limsa, yet in truth, I stand for the betterment of the realm, and thought this new company a fine opportunity to contribute on a grander scale. Oh, now that's a striking shade of blue. Put aside my Maelstrom's uniform, my wardrobe will certainly not lack for color. Isildar has at last retired from the adventurer's life. Though I shall miss his wisdom and irrepressible spirit, I'm excited to forge my own path forwards. Ah yes, the uniform. Thank you. Truth be told, the thought of pledging myself to such a lofty organization is somewhat intimidating. Little Alamigo could learn such from Revenant's Toll, that this town can be so alive in the midst of such desolation. I've never worn aught quite so voluminous. Well, I'm sure I'll grow accustomed to the extra cloth in time. Hello there, lad. Looking for me, was it? I suggest giving a whistle, but I'm not sure I could hear amongst all the bustle. Oh, proper uniforms and all. This thing's cut off the blood to me head. Not to worry, though. I'm sure she'll be fine after making a few adjustments. Ilberd's here. I don't believe we've met. I am Ilberd, and I will have the honor of leading my fellow recruits as captain. Much did I lose to the calamity, and took forward to aiding the others in rebuilding their lives. The uniforms are a shrewd decision. There is no easier method of creating a common bond among what is essentially a band of strangers. Shadow Blyson, gods, I didn't expect to meet you strolling around town. The tales of your primal battles were what inspired me to come to Revenant's Toll. 'Tis an honor to receive this uniform from your hands. I shall wear it with pride. Ah, Shadow. Tataru mentioned you were handing out the new uniforms. I assume you've met the rest of the new recruits? Some few answered the call to arms I put forth through the established grand companies and such. We are not an army, but there's much a small crop of elite warriors can achieve. Did I mention I thought of a name for the company? 'Tis my hope that it shall soon be known across the breadth of Eorzea. The moment of truth draws near, Shadow. Once the last of the recruits have gathered, I shall make an official announcement.
Comrades, your presence here this day signifies the momentous choice that each of you has made. With your strength now pledged to the scions of the Seventh Dawn, you are beholden to no single nation. You stand as the vanguard for a united Eorzea. From this moment forth, I declare you Crystal Braves. Let us mend this fractured realm and face our enemies as one. Whether it be the Beastmen and their primals, or the conflict in Carteneau, it is plain that the nations of Eorzea cannot solve the problems which plague the realm. Thus does it fall to some few heroic souls to succeed where they have failed. Come! Take your place at the Scion's side as guardians of Eorzea, and together we shall fight for the freedom of all! For the freedom of all!
A rousing speech, Alphino. Or should I say, Crystal Brave Commander Leveilleur?
Please, Antecedent. The title is honorary. I shall not be leading the troops into battle, as it were. We are of the same purpose. Let us join hands and do what must be done to save this land.
The Scions stand ready. I'm eager to see what the Crystal Braves might accomplish. This shall prove an interesting time indeed for the Scions. Yes, I'm listening. So our worst fears are confirmed. The entire Isle. Such power defies comprehension. Truly? Kryl is alive? Thank the 12. I see. Pray, inform me if her condition changes. Yes, I shall pass on your words to Urianger. My thanks. I shall contact you anon. When I learned of the loss of the Isle of Val, I dared not hope that my friend had survived. Yet, by some miracle, it would seem she has. She's still to regain consciousness, it is true, but better that than death. Putting this happy news to one side, we must now endeavor to make sense of the readings taken by the survey party. It appears the etheric disturbance which accompanied the Isle's destruction is of a magnitude alarmingly close to that of Ultima. Could the Ascians be responsible for this devastation as well? I wonder. Have you heard aught from the Mother Crystal since the battle with the Garleans? Then she speaks to neither one of us. Heidelin silence portends naught but ill, I fear. Louisoix, I pray you yet watch over us.
Very good. See that the provisions are prepared for transport. Let us hope that this shipment is spared the fate of the last. The winds are uncommon fierce this day. Get our first look at Ishgard. That's concerning. Alright, and that's all for part 5 of that, and that's it for patch 5.3. So join me next week for patch 5.4. Thank you for joining. Stay awesome.